Welcome to Model Steam Engines Top Tip Time Part 20. In this episode I'm showing the cosmetic renovation of a Stuart S50 steam engine, which, just like the boiler, which is a Bassett Loke, is very old. This steam plant belongs to Bob Brocklehurst, a good friend of mine, who owns and runs Pugneys Light Railway near Wakefield in West Yorkshire, United Kingdom. In this episode I am cleaning up and repairing some parts of the engine, which originally was in very bad condition. In this episode I show how I remove the rust from the crank web and then move on to the flywheel, followed by repairing the bed plate and doing some painting. The only way to do this successfully, seeing as I can't really separate the crank web from the crankshaft, is to use my very old but very good DeWalt drill. But please note, in order not to stress out any part of the mechanism of the engine, the end of the crankshaft is in the drill chuck, but the engine isn't held down, it's free to move around. So the chuck is not in a position to put any great stress on the end of the crankshaft. I'm cleaning up the crank web initially with a piece of 100 grit emery cloth. And in this clip you will notice one of the problems with the main bearings. One of them is cracked. I think the bolt's gone in at a very strange angle and cracked the corner of the bearing block. Most of these bolts on the main bed plate of the S50 steam engine are dummies that are cast into the main bed plate casting. But at some stage in the life of this engine, someone decided to fit proper bolts into the main bearings, even though they don't split. And if you look closely, well, you don't need to look that closely, you will see that one of them is cracked, so I will have to give this some attention before I start to paint the engine. In this clip I'm using some 400 grit wet-to-dry sandpaper with some oil to get a good finish on the front part of the crank web. And now I'm working on the reverse side of the crank web in exactly the same way, starting off with 100 grit emery cloth. Then I finish the job with a piece of wet-to-dry sandpaper, and once again, to make sure the wet-to-dry sandpaper doesn't get clogged up, I'm using some oil. This is quite a good way of cleaning up crank webs, particularly when you can't remove them from the engine without a lot of grief. From experience, I've found that on these type of engines, often the crank web is threaded onto the crankshaft, but I have a feeling that this one may be pressed on. All that's left to do now is just to remove the dirty oil mixture from the crank web using a cloth. Over now to my small Boxford lathe, and I have the flywheel lightly clamped in the chuck. It's lightly clamped in the chuck because I don't want to mark the centre boss, and also the centre boss is unmachined, so it's not running very true. But it really doesn't matter for this clean-up job. In exactly the same way as you've just seen me do with the crank web, I'm starting with 100 grade emery cloth. And because the flywheel is very lightly held in the chuck, I'm applying quite gentle pressure. The outer edge is starting to look much better. I'll speed up the video because this did take a long time. Health and safety warning. I often mention about how I fold the sandpaper into a thick pad, and it's a good idea because, as you've just seen, the part fell out of the chuck. I'll repeat the sequence. I never put direct pressure on a part using my fingers. I'll repeat the sequence a third time, and as you can see, when the flywheel leaves the chuck, my fingers remain intact. Obviously, cleaning up the edges of this small flywheel is going to be a problem, so the much easier solution is to just put a bolt through the middle. That way it's securely held in the chuck and it's going nowhere. As you can see, the flywheel is now fairly clean, and the chatter marks in the groove will help to grip the band that drives the dynamo. The flywheel is now ready for painting. Well, not quite. When I first looked at this flywheel, I couldn't figure out how it was being held to the shaft, and Bob, the owner, pointed out that there was a bolt in there that got sheared off many years ago. So once I cleaned up the flywheel, I saw where the bolt was, and here I'm drilling out the old bolt. First of all, I used a centre drill to make a centre mark exactly in the centre of the bolt, and this clip shows me using a 4BA tapping size twist drill to drill the hole out, ready to thread it. I'm holding the flywheel at an angle in the machine vise, and even though it's not clamped securely in the drilling machine, with the pressure of my fingers on it, plus the fact it can't rotate, makes it a very safe job. The next part of the job is routine. I'm threading it very carefully using a 4BA tap and fitting an Allen head grub screw. The 4BA grub screw is a bit too long, and my preferred method for shortening grub screws is on my 1-inch belt sander, and in no time at all it shortened the grub screw to just the right length. And now for the last job, and by far the easiest, I'm cleaning the outer part of the crankshaft using some Scotch-Brite. All that needs to be done now, apart from the painting, is to repair the cracked corner of the outer main bearing. And to do this, I will use some JB Weld. It's very evident in this clip that the bearing is badly damaged. One side's broken off completely, so the first thing to do is to clean up the area to have a look at it. And to do this, I'm using some panel wipe, which is also known as Lathe, and my electric toothbrush, and in no time at all, it's looking a lot cleaner. So what's caused this damage? Both sides were cracked, and both of the broken bits were just glued in place. Here is the dummy bolt that I pulled out of the top, and I think the problem occurred when this was tapped into place because the shaft was too big for the hole in the casting, so as it was tapped in place, it just cracked the casting and the parts fell off. Here I'm continuing with the cleanup operation. I intend to stick these broken chips back in place using some JB Weld. In this clip I'm burning off the surplus panel wipe, and as you can see there's not much of an explosion, so it's quite safe. This is some JB Weld on a piece of wood on the bench. It's only one part of the JB Weld, and I think the black part has the metal in it. And you must mix them very, very thoroughly to an even grey colour. Then once it sets, it becomes very strong indeed. This, by the way, is 24-hour JB Weld. I prefer it over the quick setting stuff. Initially, I'm applying a generous amount of JB Weld all over the cracked area of the bearing. This repair, by the way, is 100% cosmetic. The integrity of the bearing is fine and it would still work okay even if I didn't fix it. But I can't leave it looking as bad as that. Here I'm using a scalpel. I pressed the broken parts into position very securely, which forced out some of the JB Weld in the joint, and here I'm smoothing out the joint as best I can with the scalpel blade. By the time I've finished this, no one but you or I will know it was ever broken. I'm taking great care to make sure that the two broken parts are precisely in the correct position. All I have to do now is move the engine out of the way and leave it for 24 hours until the JB Weld sets. This is a cylinder, and it's time to paint the cylinder. Because some of this cylinder is gunmetal, I'm going to use etch primer first. So I'm spraying some etch primer into a lid from an etch primer can. It's not a good idea to spray etch primer on too thick, so I don't need too much of it in the pot. I'm stirring it up at the moment using a paintbrush. Then I'm going to leave it in the pot for a short while to evaporate some of the solvent. There now follows a painting sequence. I'm trying very hard not to get the paint on the cylinder end caps, and I don't want any paint on the steam chest cover either. But if I do, it's not important. I'm going to remove that and clean it up to get rid of the rough casting marks because the casting is undersize. And just like the JB Weld, I need to put this on one side for it to dry for 24 hours. When I paint flywheels, I don't use primer, because if the paint ever chips, it's very easy to repair the paint, whereas if it has primer underneath it, it's a much thicker layer of paint, and if ever it needs touching in at a future time, it's more difficult to disguise the chip. That's about it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website. Click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you will find it very easy to find other videos that you may like to watch.